Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to computer programming. Last time I gave you an overview for how to write code to cause a button to cycle through 6 colors as you click it. And before I show you how to make a function to make this job a little bit easier, I'm going to show you the completed code from last time, which I did not complete, but I'm going to show it to you now. This particular program is actually based on some code that one of the students wrote, and as you can see, there are the 4 colored buttons right here, and as I click on each one it changes color and it keeps on cycling. As you can see, it does not get stuck anywhere. So this was very well written. Now let's look at the source code. And so the first button's click handler demonstrates the if-else-if structure that I talked about last time. As you can see, first it checks if the color is red, and then if it is, it changes it to dark orange. And if it executes, if this first statement is true, then what's inside the curly braces immediately following the if gets executed, which means this line right here, that line, and all other else's that are immediately following are going to be ignored. So this if-else-if construct only allows for one of these statements to occur. So as soon as we know what the button's current color is, we know what color to change it to. We change it to that color, and then we're done. We ignore everything else. Alright? And then here, this was an important point that I believe I made last time. Your final part of that should just be a plain else. Don't check for that 6th color. And so no matter, if the button's current color is not any of the first 5, then we assume it's the 6th. And then we simply change it back. We change the button to the first color in our the first color that we checked in the first if. So once we've gone through all 6 colors, and now we're at the 6th color, now we're red, the next time we click, we're going to change back to dark orange. Okay? So it's going to cycle through, right? So again, let me show you that. So this was the code for the first button. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and back to red. So those are your 6 colors. Okay? That's all fine and dandy. Now, how do you make the second button change color? Well, it's the same code for the second button. Here's the second handler. And if you look at this, it's the same code. The only thing that's different is instead of button 1, we look at button 2's color, and we change button 2's color. Okay? So button 2's click handler looks at and changes button 2. Similarly with button 3. Button 3's click handler looks at and changes button 3. That makes sense, right? And see, all this code is all the same. The only difference is which button you're actually changing the color for. Okay? Now, here's a question for you. What happens if you want to change one of the colors, say Dodger blue? You want to change that to just plain blue. Well, you have to change it for button 4, button 3, button 2, button 1. In 4 places, actually 8 places, because in each function you have to change it twice. So, is there a better way? Well, of course. Every time that you use the same code more than once is a good opportunity to create a function out of it. Remember, a function is a block of code that has a name. So, what I'd like to do is create just one function that I can use to change any button's color. And then, in each of these button click handlers, I will call that function and tell it which button to change the color for. Right? So let's do this. Let me show you how to do this. First of all, the way our code is organized and the way C# works, you have to make sure that when you define a new function, you're not inside any other function. How do you know if you're inside a function? Well, you look at the function declaration, like for example this one. This is the forms constructor, and immediately after the declaration is an open curly brace, and everything after this open curly brace and before the corresponding closed curly brace belongs to that function. When I'm here, which is after the close, after we exited the form mastermind constructor, and before we enter the button 1 click handler, right? Right here, this line right there is not anywhere. I mean, it's inside the class, but it's not in, whatever. Anyway, right here is where we're supposed to add our new function. So I'm going to declare a new function. I'm going to say private void. Void means it will not return any value because we don't need it to return value. Set color ifs. There's nothing magical about the name of this. Why do I call it this? Is because this function is going to set the color of a button, okay, and it's going to be using ifs. Later on, I'm going to show you other ways that we can change the buttons colors in much more elegant ways. But right now, we're just going to use the ifs like we have been using so far, because that's all we know. And then after the function declaration, we need to do an open parenthesis, and we need to tell it what values to accept as arguments. And the way you do that is you tell it what type it's going to be. It's going to be a button, and you give it a name. I'm just going to call it BTN, okay, short for a button. Okay, like that. Now I'm not going to do a semicolon here. Just like with any other function declaration, you need to follow the declaration with open and close curly braces, like that. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the contents of button 1 click. I'm going to highlight it. Actually, I'm going to say Control X. I'm going to completely delete that, and I am going to push Control V. So now our setcolorifs function has the same code that our button 1 click handler had.